Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vulnerability Time podcast. I am your host, published author, and PhD candidate, Josias Abriel. Before we get started, folks, just a couple quick announcements. One, the show is now accepting donations. We need to get a new laptop to continue the show. So I have a Cash App in the episode description below. You just click on the link tree and you can donate. Anything helps. There's this used laptop that I was looking at, and it's about $600 something. So that I will be needing to get that to. I found like the best and cheapest used laptop to be able to record the show, because the current laptop, she's dying on us, folks, and the software and the updates, it's starting to do its thing again. So if you would like to donate to help the show out, please do so. Anything helps. Also, if you are listening on YouTube, give this a like. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give this a 5-star rating. It will help the algorithm. I do need 10 more 5 stars to continue the show. So if you could please do that, I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Alrighty, folks. So today we have a brand new guest, Karin. Welcome to the show. Fabulous to have you, Karin. Um, Before we get into our topics, I want you to tell us a little bit about you, like any work that you have coming out, any credentials, where you're from, things of that nature.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here and I can't wait for this conversation. My name is Karin. I come from Slovakia and I currently live in Czech Republic. And the work I do is such an awesome one. I really love speaking about it. It is basically somehow there's a gap sometimes between success and fulfillment, and I'm trying to close it. And I use different tools. So we use coaching for mindset work and at the same time neurosomatic breath work, where we help the body feel safe for making the change. I am also the author of my beautiful book, Dear Me Letters, and I am so excited to share that as well. And generally, I'm trying to just build a community for people so that we can get to talk about the topics that I believe we are also covering today. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yay. And your any links or websites that Corinne has, folks, will be in the episode description below. So you can check that out, and check out her book and whatnot. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so um something that you had mentioned. So our topics today, folks, are going to be taking off the mask and life transitions, right? And so taking off the mask, Corinne, why that topic? How does that show up in your life? Like, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it is a topic that is so deeply personal to me because I was very, very stuck in people pleasing, over giving, and being very codependent on other people.
Mhm.
And I had many different masks that I had to take off when I wanted to become authentic. And especially at the beginning of my healing, I had to be very, very clear on what I want to do, which is to become more authentic, which meant that I had to start taking these masks off. And I was like a shapeshifter in a way.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it depended in which type of environment I was in which type of group. And I became that person that I believed people needed me to be for me to be accepted. So that's why I had to start taking off these masks and start to understand what it means to be authentic. And I didn't understand it for a long time until I became authentic with myself, until I took self responsibility, and until I really started trusting myself that I can just exist and it is enough. So it is a topic that I love because it's a difficult one, and especially in this type of society, we have the need to perform, to have these masks. And that's exactly also what I'm sharing in the book, where basically my authentic person is speaking to the performative one,
Mm.
and they have a dialogue, and I'm telling myself what it takes to basically let the performance go.
Yes. How long would you say that? Because it's a process, it's a journey. How long, because you mentioned at the beginning of your healing journey, so how long did it take you to go from from starting to realize, okay, I want to be more authentic. I am becoming a shapeshifter around certain spaces to where you're at now. Like, how long did that take, would you say?
Yeah, it's quite a difficult question to answer because for my whole journey takes 4.5 years of healing at this
Mm,
point, but it was a process, as you said, and it took me, especially the first half year was the most difficult one because I had to become authentic about the fact that I am not authentic. I
mhm,
had to become true to myself and realize that actually I am lying to myself. So I would say that the first half year was just me coming to the terms with the fact that I am not myself.
mm,
And then it took another 1 or 2 years to work through that. And then I was searching to find who I am,
yeah,
and it really took some time to get to know myself and all these different parts of me that I suppressed. And every single emotion that was suppressed had needed to have a voice so that I could start to become a whole again.
yes. That's really beautiful. I definitely relate to that. Like for so long, I think like 5.5 years ago, I realized like, I became a chameleon or a shapeshifter,
Mm.
right, in certain spaces. Um, and I just didn't know like who I was. The only thing that I knew were my core morals and my core principles, right? So, regardless
Mhm.
of when I shapeshifted or became a chameleon, I still held true to my principles and my morals. But my personality, I had no clue who that was. Still to this day, sometimes I'm still kind of learning, right? Because when years of shapeshift as a form of survival, right? Because when you're, especially when you're like sensitive to rejection, acceptance, you know, that means well, at least in my life, acceptance meant safety.
Mhm.
It meant that no trouble was going to occur. It meant that I am loved. And yeah. And so I remember like as a child, for example, I would have to perform. Like the only time my parents showed me love was, when I got really good grades or when I performed very well, right?
Mhm.
And so when I was just myself or just me, or if I made what they would define as a mistake, I would not receive love. And so when that happens to a child like over and over and over again, it creates a people pleaser. It creates someone who has to perform all the time because it's like we know, our body knows that we deserve love. So it's like, okay, well, this is how we're gonna get it. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna continue to get it like that because that's what works. That's what's safe, right? And so that's where mine came from. Where did yours come from?
I love everything to what you're saying. I really can resonate with everything that you are mentioning right now. And it is really so simple for adapting, right? You see what works and you take these coping mechanisms and you adapt very quickly, and you can really see very quickly what works for survival, or at least what we perceive as survival.
Yeah.
And I would say it is quite the same for me. And now I really understood that healing is about compassion towards that part of me that I
Yes.
needed to survive. I needed to
Mm.
really learn that it was my only way of understanding the world at that moment. And
Yes.
it's about growing up and uh, reparenting myself.
I was just about to say that. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Exactly. And to what you're asking about where it came from, it was quite similar actually. It was this achievement through studying.
Mm.
I was also playing sports, so I'm not sure if it was that I put that pressure on me, but I also feel I was a very sensitive child, so I could
Mhm.
feel the shift in the room,
Mm.
and I could really adapt, and I was very flexible to who I need to be to please my parents.
Yeah.
And yeah, so was something that really shaped me, and it stayed with me until this day. I am very ambitious as a person, and I actually love that about myself. I just had to become very clear to what I want to be ambitious about, because I
Yes.
was trying to be ambitious about things that maybe society, culture,
Right.
parents, friends told me to, and I had to find that inner alignment. But yeah,
Mm.
to answer this question, it was basically pressure from education and sports, and
Mhm.
I had to relearn completely the relationship I have with these two. And that was a
Mm.
journey, but it was very fulfilling to find my way back to education and sports, but through a place of fulfillment.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I'm resonating with so much of what you just said. I think you, first off, you said it so beautifully. Um, you, and I love the word you use to, oh my God, I'm about to cry. The realignment, the inner alignment, right? Like, 'cause, like, for example, like me, I too am very like ambitious now. However, but it's like I'm ambitious about what I want to be ambitious about. Like, for example, one of my biggest examples that's here now in my life is, so currently I'm a PhD student. So I'll be a doctor in 2 years, right? Um, However, at first I was going to just go to law school, and
Mhm,
I had to ask myself, is that something I want to do, or is that something others want me to do? Is that something I just want to do to please others? And I had to sit and ask
mhm,
myself, what is it that I want to do? And that that was a hard question that took me almost a year to answer, to
mhm,
genuinely sit with myself and answer. Um, and so, I mean, the 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 answer for me, one, because I'm a PhD student now. And folks, by the way, I just passed my first comp exam this morning, so that's really cool because that thing was hard. Like, you have to answer one big question in 10 to 15 pages just based off your literature review that you wrote. And my literature review was like 30 pages, and I've read how many? Like over 1,020 pages for that literature review.
wow.
It was a lot. Okay, it was a lot. However, passed it. Fun fact. But
Wow, congrats!
thank you.
Congratulations! Wow.
Something that I really honor that you said is, how the ambition, though it may have came from, you know, how society, in our environment, whether they meant to do it on purpose or not, you know, how ambition may have came from there, but that doesn't mean like it's a bad thing necessarily, right? Like ambition itself is not a bad thing necessarily. It's just like, is it what you want? Ambition is great, but find what is within ambition that you want. Like real align that, because being ambitious isn't necessarily a bad thing. And so I love that you said that. You put that into perfect words. Um, but yeah, I had to, also, um, be compassionate and reparent my inner child, right?
Hmm.
Because I've
Yeah.
noticed there were certain things that parents and society and the environment around me, you know, though not all things were done on purpose to me, right? I still learned those things because that's the kind of, especially if we're in like a what folks would consider a first world country or a developed country, we do see that very prominent, how society works. This is the sociologist coming in, folks. You 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 do see that the societies work very similarly, right? And so regardless if the parent is teaching you that or not, like you're still gonna pick it up. Right. Like, and I'm not saying this doesn't exist everywhere. I'm just saying, like, from my knowledge, because I've done tons of research for the US, only a little research for Canada, and just even little research for Mexico and UK. Um, but from my knowledge, from what have did research on it, it does seem like, there is this commonality, right? Um, so
Hmm.
it's just like a child is highly likely to pick up on it and to soak it in and to learn it, even if it's not the intent, necessarily.
Yeah.
So having
Yeah, of
compassion on
course.
inner child is important. Yeah.
Exactly. And this was also a part of my learning and my healing, understanding that our parents, we take them as gods because
Hmm.
we were born into the family and they are our authoritative figure.
Hmm.
But what we need to realize is they are also human,
Human.
they are also people, they're coming from a certain pattern as well. And it was very, very important for me to realize that they did the best they could.
Hmm.
And this brought a lot of compassion towards them, but also it brought a lot of compassion towards me. And it gave me a perspective. And I was telling myself it was maybe not even my decision to have these patterns, but
Hmm.
it is my responsibility to clear them. It is
Yes.
my responsibility to change it, to heal it. And I cannot blame my society, my culture, my parents, my friends, none of them, because that would always put me into the victim mode. And I was so done with it. I told myself I am a person who is adult, who
Hmm.
knows how to handle myself, and many different tools can help with this. For me, it was first therapy, then coaching, breath work, and somatic healing.
Hmm.
And there are so many beautiful ways to do that. But in the essence, it always came down to the self responsibility and creating self trust and compassion that even though it is not my
Hmm.
choice, or it is not my, the reasoning is not that I am the problem and I need to fix myself, but it's
Right.
much more about who I can become, because this journey is the reward. And how can I be compassionate towards myself and show up for myself?
Right. And that's so beautiful. That was something very healing for me that I learned. It's like, like it may not have been your fault. However, it is your responsibility now. And I think that's
Yeah.
so powerful and so beautiful because it's like, the things that, I know this is easier said than done, and trust me, folks, I know. Um, however, I think it's very comforting and powerful to know that, this is like just because we were, raised like that doesn't mean it has to necessarily stay like that, right? Like it doesn't mean it's not the end of your
Yes.
story. You're still breathing.
Exactly.
You can do little things to, you know, to recover, to relearn, to unlearn, to heal, things like that. And do it with compassion. And, also speaking of the breath work, I start that July 13th. So I'm excited because I've been a fan of breath work for like a year now, and I hear all about the benefits, and so I was like, it's about time that I do breath work finally.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
love that for you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, and so can you speak a little bit before we go on to our next topic? Can you speak a little bit of how therapy and breath work, and coaching, how those have been very necessary for your journey and how it's okay to receive help.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. I could speak about this topic for ages, so thank you so much for asking this. And it's not even for me. I had to completely reshape my idea about therapy because,
Same.
I also come from Slovakia, and it's something that there was a lot of shame about
In
therapy.
Slovakia?
And
Okay.
yeah, definitely, definitely, there was a lot of, there still is.
Yes.
I just rose above that because I see what it means, and yeah. Yeah, and it's really beautiful to see that there is a person who gives you their 100% to create a safe space, and you are able to speak your heart out in
Mhm.
a non-judgmental way, and this is the biggest part. And now that's also, I'm going to combine it with coaching because they are different, but the essence is the same in the sense that there is a person who is there to listen to you and really not judge you. And this is the piece
Yes.
which is very important, because we might have great friends to whom we talk, and we can vent, we can really talk about our problems and anything and everything that comes up. But the thing is that there is objective person, your therapist, your coach, that doesn't bring in any opinions, any
Mhm.
judgment, and you're able to speak it out. And it's really about just the fact that you speak your truth, you speak from your heart. And that's
Yeah.
another thing I needed to learn. Oh my God, that was so huge.
Mm.
And I remember, I will just tell you one story. I was in therapy and I was telling my therapist like one story, and then I stopped because I realized that I'm not telling her the full honest truth, because I
Mm.
was trying to make myself look better in the discussion, in the story. And I told her like, look, I didn't tell you the truth, but I don't know how to tell you the real story because I'm
Mhm.
not I'm not good. I'm not great in that story. I also made a mistake.
Mm.
And she said something super profound, because she said like, it's not even that you cannot tell me, but you cannot tell yourself. You're
Mm.
not able to speak it out loud because you have to tell yourself, you have to admit it to yourself. You either made a mistake or you acted in a way that is not in alignment with your moral values.
Mhm.
So that was very pivotal. And
Uh-huh.
that's why when you speak out your truth and you are allowed to say things, you reflect on your life, and it's a huge mirror. And it can be healing just to speak and
Mhm.
know that somebody cares. So yeah, this was the part where I really love therapy and coaching, because you can rationally understand things, you can
Mhm.
pour it out. It is mindset work, so a lot of reframes, and you can have many breakthroughs through discussion alone.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm bringing breath work into my work is because while coaching and therapy is cognitive, so it's in the
Yes.
mind, it's mindset work, it's shifts,
Yes.
reframes, I had the need to bring the body
The
into the
body.
discussion.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Because it holds so much truth for us. And the thing is that nobody talks about it. Nobody teaches it until you do the work and you realize you need to bring in the body.
Right.
And yeah, that's why the breath work is the one I chose, because it's very grounding and it's something that you have all the time with you. So
Mhm.
no matter where you end up, you can always focus on your breath and immediately come back to yourself. And it is quite powerful what the breath work can do,
Yes.
and I honestly love it. And when it comes to the breath work, it's the body work, and the body is so smart. And
Very.
it's, yeah, we just don't know how to listen to it. And there's
Right.
so much I could talk to you about the body, but I had the need to bring in the nervous system regulation, because we can
Yeah.
understand a lot of stuff rationally, but we don't understand many things emotionally.
Yeah.
And that's the part where I needed to bring in, because I already knew that my dreams, already knew where I want to go, but my body didn't let me because it didn't feel safe, because we always follow things that we know. And there is even this quote, maybe you might know it. It's that you would rather follow the familiar hell than to go towards unfamiliar heaven, because you would rather stick to the stuff you know, even though you know that they are bad for you, they might be
Yes.
toxic,
Right.
uh, but it's familiar and you know what to
Mm-hmm.
expect. So your coping mechanisms are in place
Mm-hmm.
and you can live in that place. But if you want something more, you need to go towards change, go towards the unfamiliar.
Yes.
And that requires a lot of courage. And that's
Yes.
why I had the internal need to bring in the nervous system regulation
Yeah.
to help the body feel that it's safe to live your dreams and allow yourself to have the chance to live them. Yeah.
I'm about to cry. That was just so beautiful. So
Thank you.
beautifully said. Seriously, that was,
Um,
because for the longest I was always only focused on the mind and was wondering why I was seeing tons of progress, tons of healing, but there seemed to be something that I was missing, and it was the body,
mm, mm,
the nervous system, because that is, I call it our second brain, that keeps score. It keeps score of trauma, it keeps score of joy, things like
mm,
that, right? So, the nervous system can be operating in something that was 10 years ago, even though rationally we know we're
mm.
not 10 years ago. We're
Yeah.
we're fine, but our nervous system may think otherwise, and that can be a good thing or, something that can become a hindrance. And so I'm
Yeah.
very grateful of how wonderful you have articulated that, of the body matters too. Um, when you're healing, yes, heal. Like for me, it's like I'm healing more and more holistically, like wholeness,
Mhm.
like not just the mind, but also the body, right? Like also the body and other areas of the spectrum of health, you know,
Mm.
and so it's all important, and I'm looking forward to the breath work, right? And speaking on what you said, that quote, that many people choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. That is, yes. I remember like in high school, I would do that, right? And
Mm.
I
Mm.
feel like I missed out on like two really good romantic relationships.
Mm.
Um, and so, you know, I still like it's very rare, but I still think about that to this day, just randomly. It just comes out of nowhere. And I use
Mm.
it as a reminder to, because, well, before I was able to rationally and emotionally choose, unfamiliar heavens, you know, um, I used that regret to
Mm.
to to help me to choose unfamiliar heavens before I even knew that what my mind and body was doing. My mind and body at that time was choosing familiar hells. Um, I didn't know that then. And so, thanks to therapy and just research and self-awareness and all that good stuff and, listening to others, listening to myself, a whole plethora of things, right? I was able to finally um make a more intentional and a more conscious decision to
Yeah. Yeah.
choose better, choose an unfamiliar heaven and be like, that's okay. The uncomfort is my friend, right? There's a difference
Yes.
between uncomfort and unsafe. You know, there's growth in the uncomfort, and an uncomfortable heaven is safe,
Mm.
but a familiar hell is not safe. It just quote unquote feels safe because I've experienced that before, so it's familiar. And so that familiarity, it tricked me on thinking that it's safety when it's not. And unfamiliarity for used to trick me in thinking that it was unsafe, but really it's not. It's not. It's just unfamiliar. And as many new things that we try, there will be that, unfamiliar because you haven't tried it before, just unfamiliar with it. Like when I um ate octopus for the first time, like just looking at it, I was a little uncomfortable just because like this is so new to me. So new, right? Like I've never had octopus before. And then I tried it and I liked it. And so um I know that's a small example, but the principle, folks, is just like heaven over hell. That's what it has come down to at least for me at least, I'm like I'm taking out the feelings for a little bit. I'm acknowledging the feelings, but I'm not letting them stop me, right? I'm like, okay, but the bottom line is hell versus heaven. Which would I rather choose?
Yeah.
And so that also helped me. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. And here I want to say a few things about this because especially at the beginning, I was giving myself a lot of hard time
Yeah, me too.
when I fell back to the hell, right?
Yes,
To the
same.
familiar hell.
Yeah.
Because also we don't know compassion. And another thing that I want to say here is that it takes a lot of energy and
Hmm.
courage to keep choosing the heaven. It
Yes.
takes so much energy. And sometimes, especially when we are tired or something major comes up in our life, we come back to what we know because
Yes.
our nervous system has certain capacity. And if we have reached it, you always go towards what is known, go towards what you already have in
Right.
place because that's safe.
Right.
And when change starts to happen or when we choose change, it's really about what can I do consistently in the smallest steps, because this is what I have also seen
Yes.
in my life and in other people's lives. We don't want consistent change, we want to change immediately. And
Hmm.
this is something that I kind of dislike about motivational speech, because they are always talking
Mm.
about you can change in this amount of time, which is like in a month, or like sometimes they can even say you are one decision away from being completely different person. And I don't think it's true.
Right.
Yes, you need that decision, but you need to align those actions, and it's daily work and it's
Hmm.
hard. And it's because also I have seen that in my life we are so praised for big loud change because
Mm.
people can see it,
See it.
it's tangible,
Mm.
and it's something that is big, right? But nobody can really give you the credit for the daily consistent steps. Nobody's going to applaud like, yes,
Mm.
you did morning routine that is
Yeah.
very helpful for your body. Nobody's going to clap you for that.
Right.
So it's really the work about how can I become my own best friend and actually
Mm.
start tapping my back and saying I'm good, I'm great, and how can I tell myself I'm proud of myself,
Yes.
and how can I see that those consistent little steps are getting me towards that heaven. And I saw that the
Mm.
first maybe even year or two, it was really hard work and I had to convince myself to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm at a place in my life where I'm just excited to see what's next, what's possible, what else am I able to do, and who else am I able to be if I
Yeah.
keep being true to me.
Yeah.
So it stopped being about fixing myself, healing myself,
Mm.
and changing myself, and it started to be about exploring who I can be and seeing what else can I be. So yeah, that's really big.
Wow.
And that's why I love the work, because yes, the change is so hard. That's why at the beginning we might need therapist, coach, or somebody to
Hmm.
hold our hand. But the
Yes.
point is that you do need to let go of the hand at certain point
Hmm.
to become your own person, but you can have the support on the way.
Right. Oh, that was so beautiful. Woo, you are such a gift. What a blessing you are, Corinne. Speaking of
Thank you.
change, so life transitions are a huge change. Huge change. Like that is a really major change that can be very scary, right? Very uncomfortable, very many things, right? What is your journey with that? Like, why that topic?
Oh my God, yes, I love this question. Thank you for asking it. I have been in life transitions, I think my whole life, to be honest. And I started because I was an athlete. I was doing professionally squash. I was constantly going out and going to tournaments and squash camps and other things. And then it's because, you know, I love so many things, and I don't want to be labeled by one thing or one passion. So I was
Right.
very passionate about squash. But then I also understood that I'm really passionate about education, and I love exploring the topics that are diverse. And I went to university, so that was another life transition of changing the country, going towards education. So I started to learn more about finance, and then I went to work to another country, and I started to work in corporate in European Central Bank. So it was institution, and I was able to find my passion of being a professional. So this was all slow steps. So the transitions, they were happening, that I was changing the countries, I was changing my persona, and there was underlying reasons why I was switching between first sports, then education, then
Mm,
very high professional environment at work. And at the end, I let it all go, all of these different labels and environments. And now I came to understand that through therapy, through coaching, through somatics, that I found my purpose and I found my inner alignment. And that was the piece that was missing. That's why I was doing so many things. That's why I was jumping between topics, jumping between environments and groups of people and communities, because I was searching, and I didn't know what was missing, but I wanted to know more, be more, have more. And now that I have found exactly my purpose and alignment, I no longer have the need to jump and scatter my energy. And that was it. Like, I was scattering my energy to different things and topics because I didn't find that essence. And once now I have that essence, I can literally be at home all the time because I'm working on the stuff that I love and enjoy. So it doesn't mean that I stopped being multidimensional, multi-passionate, and bringing
mm,
things in. It's just now it's one huge ecosystem that helps with each other and it
yes.
communicates. So
Mm,
yes, I wrote a book about vulnerability and authenticity, and at the same time I'm doing breath work and somatics, and I'm going doing coaching. And it might not seem that there's connection, but the essence is the same, that it's
yes.
self-expression, and it comes down to really learning about what is success and how can I reframe it, because my idea of success was based on what society dictated. And once I found that inner core alignment, I
Yeah.
understood that I still want to be successful. I just want to be successful in things that I choose and I create from the heart.
Yes.
And as soon as I started to do that and have that inner alignment, my creation, oh my God, it expanded. And I love creating so many things. And I
Mm,
feel like I'm gaining the energy while I work on my stuff. So the work with life transitions is, I have done it all. I have went through to many different countries. I have traveled either via sports or in my personal life, and I was just constantly on the lookout, on the search to see
Yes.
who am I,
Yeah.
what do I want to do. And
Right.
now that I do, now that I found it, and I found fulfillment, and now it's success as well, but it comes from a soulful place. And that's why my work is so much based on transitions and basically closing the gap between success and fulfillment. Because if there is not your soul on the table,
Mm.
the success will never taste sweet.
That is amazing. I'm speechless. I'm literally speechless. I'm literally speechless, and it's a good thing, trust me. Wow, that was powerful. See, that's something that when we finish the episode, I'm just gonna go back and listen to and just marinate and study those words. I feel like I needed to hear that.
Thank
Feel
you
like I
so
needed
much
to
for
hear
saying
that.
that. Yeah.
Do you Can you tell us one more time about your book? And tell us a little bit about what it's about again as well.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love the book so much. You know, I need to start and tell you why I wrote it, because
Yes.
I did not sit down and told myself, I'm going to write a book. No, 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 not at all.
Mm,
I was deep in therapy, and I hit my rock bottom. And I understood that I had lied to myself, I betrayed myself, I I did so many things against myself just to belong, just to please other people. And it was very, very uncomfortable realization, and a very painful one. And so I was sitting in my apartment back when I was living in Germany, and I told myself I need an outlet, and what can I do for myself to make this make sense. And what I found out was that I need to write, I need to do something, I need to get it out of my brain, I need to vomit it out on the paper. So I took my notebook, closed my eyes, and I was crying my eyes out while I started to just write. And it was pouring out of myself. I have goosebumps while I say this, because it was just such a pure moment of, I don't know who am I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know where to go from here. I can cling to my old structure, but that structure does not seem real. I want to let go of that. I want to knock down that pillar, but I have not a new pillar that I can start
mm,
building. I don't know what I want to start building. I don't know who I wish to be.
mm,
And I just put it on the paper, or on the screen, or in the computer. And honestly, then after I did that, I felt so ashamed, because I come from a family where like the childhood was good. I did
mm,
not have the reasons to blame anybody. And there were so many things, as we mentioned before. Yes, we people might neglect certain things about our lives, but uh, they were doing the best they could. So I could not blame my parents, I could not blame my environment, but I just felt this unfulfillment, and I just felt this emptiness, and I just didn't know what else to blame except myself.
mm.
And that's how
Yeah.
my journey started, with a relationship with my authentic self. And that's what I now say. It was basically the conversation between authentic self that started to call out the performative person, and being like, how could you have done that? How could you have not screamed in that situation? How could you have not run away from that? And once I started to write it out, and when I looked at the page, I was like, oh my God, these feelings, these emotions, how can I even say it out loud? So what I did was I locked it so nobody could enter. Thankfully, I remembered the password, but I locked it, and I didn't look at it again until another half a year. And then in half a year, I had another meltdown because I didn't know myself again. And it was like, especially, you were in therapy, so you know how it is. You're on a roller coaster. And you're
Yes.
like, okay, I had that rock bottom. I am now good. I am now healed. I can
Mm-hmm.
move on. And then you go down another valley.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I did that, I understood like, oh my God, half a year ago, I wrote something. Maybe I can do
Wow.
it again.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's how basically five of such letters started to come to life. And I now afterwards, when I read it, I started to share it with my closest people and started to see, okay, uh, who can I tell and who can I show it to that might understand. And afterwards I started to be like, okay, I'm starting to be proud about it, but I still don't know how to let more people know. And then came a switch and I found my purpose and I went into coaching and I was like, I need to let those words to be out
Mm.
there in the public. And I did it for myself. It was honestly selfish decision to just, I need to be witnessed. I
Yes.
want this to be out there. It's the most emotionally raw thing that I have ever done.
Mm.
But I just felt that that time of crisis, I think people can resonate so much because we all have unique experience, unique circumstances, but the struggles and the pain and the feelings, they are universal. And that's what I'm coming with, that I want people to start talking about it, and we should not be ashamed of it.
Right.
Yes, we might have difficult emotions, but it is our responsibility to learn how to navigate them. So that's the big backstory of
Wow.
what I wrote, and or how I wrote it.
Mm.
And it's a journey, basically, how I talk about like how I self betrayed myself, how I did not show up for myself, how I manipulated myself into thinking I can
Right.
earn people's love if I
Mm.
act in a certain way. And then I just started those are the masks we talk about at the very
Right.
beginning.
Yes.
I started to uncover those masks and
Yes.
started to dissolve them, but it took so much effort.
Yes.
And
And courage.
yeah, so yes, and courage, exactly. And so that's the essence of the books, and it's coming in towards the end to self-acceptance. And that's the beautiful part, that people can actually see that that journey is possible, and it's a difficult one, but there
Yes.
is always somebody to hold you, either in understanding or in places like coaching, like therapy.
Yes.
And at the very end, I also provide a few tools that helped me on the way. And I was searching what those tools are, and they were shaping in the time, but just generally for people to know that there are options. You just need to find what really resonates with you.
Yes. That is so beautiful. This is something that I heard. One person hit rock bottom so that 100 people don't have to.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't heard that before.
Yes.
Wow, full on goosebumps.
Yes. The universe told me that while we were speaking, and so I was like, okay, I'll just share it. Um,
Wow.
Thank you for existing, Corinne. Seriously, thank you.
So
This has been such an edifying, healing episode. Um, and I'm really, really grateful. Thank you. I truly, truly, truly do mean that.
thank
Um,
you.
and where can before we close out, where can we find your book? I mean, I know I'll have the link in below, folks, so you can just go and click and check that out. But where can your book be found?
Yeah. Before I share that, I just want to tell you that the way you hold space and the way that you reflect back to what I'm saying and giving me also your perspective is so special. So I will also wanted to give you that mirror, and it's really special to be talking about these topics and giving it out and allowing people to witness us and to be able to reflect on their own lives. So the work that you do, it's really special, and I really hope that you are giving yourself the huge credit that you deserve. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. I received that, Corinne. I truly, truly received that. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah, and the work. So the work I do. Also, I have not shared this one before. I'm also writing articles and blogs about these topics like vulnerability and how can you not abandon yourself in relationships, in
Oh,
at
yeah,
work,
that's
in
a big
different
one.
environments, and how can you stay true to yourself when you are going home to your parents and you fall back to your child self.
Yeah.
So I write that on Substack. So definitely, if you want, I'm providing their articles once in 2 weeks. And it's basically about vulnerability, authenticity, and I provide there some coaching exercises. So that's how I'm trying to blend the work in between. You can also find my work on my website. So it's my surname, not name, and .com. So velitskakarin.com. And you can definitely see me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I write some blogs on LinkedIn. I share some stories here and there on Instagram. So I would be very happy if we connect. And if you can also tell me what you thought about the episode, how you felt, and if anything resonated.
Oh, yes. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, folks, check that out in the episode description below. Um, Corinne, this has been fabulous having you on the show. Um, I'm pretty sure we will have you back on the show. And so this has been amazing. Folks, I'm speechless. I literally don't know what to say. And I've been speechless in a while. Um, Alrighty, folks, if no one has told you today that you are worthy of love, you're worthy of being authentic, allow me to be the first and allow yourself to be the second. You are worthy of love and you are worthy of being authentic. And you can take off the mask even if you are afraid. Be like me, do it afraid. That's where courage comes in. um, so thank you, Corinne, for coming on the show and being a gift to us all, and thank you for existing on this world. Alrighty, folks, I will see you on next episode for whatever that will be.